This couldn't have happened overnight. Yandy kicked Mendeecees out of the house after he slapped him in the car. Imagine the moment when Mendeecees and Lil Mendeecees are riding in the car when all of a sudden there is a full-on slap. We thought their tension was already high, but this family drama took a turn that nobody saw coming. I know everything there is to know about this complicated scenario, and I promise you won't be ready for these specifics. This show is giving full-on reality TV. Pandemonium, complete with violent fights and secret arguments, not to mention the streets. But wait, why did this even occur? What was it that Mendeecees said that made his kid lose his temper like that? More significantly, what was the reason behind Yandy's reaction? We've all heard the rumors and seen the symptoms of tension between Mendeecees and Lil Mendeecees for a while, but none saw that things would spiral out of control like father-son relationships can. So prepare to dissect this in detail and get some popcorn. Let's go back in time for a moment, even if it can be complicated. You may remember the years of tension that existed between Lil Mendeecees and his father. Nothing has been the same since Mendeecees' incarceration, and the harm was already done when he was released. Every time they interacted, the tension was palpable on television. With his mother, Yandy, keeping him straight and making sure he felt supported, Lil Mendeecees had to grow up fast while his father was in prison. But after Mendeecees came back, everything appeared to be different. You all know that's not how things work, but it sounded like he wanted his son to immediately get in line and act like nothing had occurred. The internet was not amused when Mendeecees openly admitted that he wasn't sure if he would have held Yandy down if the roles had been reversed, Charlie. Just consider the amount of effort he has been putting into his own son behind closed doors if he could do that to his wife. Let's be honest, Mendeecees hasn't exactly been the father of the year, and years of animosity don't simply go away overnight. All of the tension that had been building between them abruptly burst during this recent car journey. According to what we were told, the dispute started over a trivial matter, one of those unofficial father-son disputes. But let's be honest, when stress accumulates for years, even the tiniest thing may turn into a major battle. Sources claim that Mendeecees was pursuing Lil Mendeecees over. In a fit of rage, Lil Mendeecees told his father that he didn't respect him since he hadn't supported him. Mendeecees claimed that he's been acting too disrespectfully lately, and that kind of comment will cut right to the heart. Fathers often attempt to establish their authority by saying things like, "Boy, you better watch your tone when you talk to me." Instead of just hearing and comprehending his son's perspective, he did what he normally does, which is to attempt to control the problem rather than truly heal it. You all know how this works. Parents try to stop their children from being too bold right away because they feel disrespected, but instead of comprehending, they just get more aggressive. It all broke apart when Mendeecees called out to Lil Mendeecees to alter his attitude, effectively checking him, asking, "You want to act like a father now? Where was this energy when I needed you?" I don't know of a more impactful line of the decade than "Boom, Mic drop, y'all." However, Lil Mendeecees slapped Men before he could even respond. He swung, and the next thing you know, Mendeecees is sitting there in amazement, as if his kid had truly hit him, and for the first time in a long time, he didn't know how. I'm not sure if he blacked out of fury, if it was instinct, or if he had been waiting for this moment his entire life. The most absurd thing is that you would have thought Mendeecees would be shouting, fleeing, or perhaps swinging back instead of snapping. Instead, he just sat there as though he had seen a ghost, which makes sense, as it was the moment he finally realized he had lost his son. Yandy entered the chat window just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, but she wasn't even there when the slap occurred, but she went crazy as soon as she found out. She began to yell and sob, wanting to know what in the world had happened. No one was prepared for her next move when she finally came up with it. The entire family was split up when she ordered Lil Mendeecees to go. However, before delving into that issue, let's talk about the consequences of. Online users were split. Some were disparaging Lil Mendeecees and saying things like, "You never lay hands on your father no matter how bad things get." Others were openly in favor of him, saying he was only expressing years of repressed rage. The shock wasn't limited to the incredibly fast cosmic rays. Some nicknamed it the 2025 Father-Son Smackdown after the memes took over after being ignored. If you think this is odd, wait until I tell you how this family feud partially develops. Some people claim that Mendeecees received his just punishments, and some even compared it to the Will Smith and Chris Rock incident where they told him to keep your name out of your mouth. Second, you all strap up when I tell you that Yandy's next action was unimaginable. The entire family was devastated when Lil Mendeecees abruptly slapped his father, Mendeecees, in the car. However, Yandy had to make a decision that would change everything, which is what caused this situation to escalate from chaotic to almost unfathomable. Let's move on now. Since Lil Mendeecees was a young child, Yandy has been raising him, to be honest. She made sure he had everything he needed and kept him restrained while he was incarcerated. This must have been tough, but she also loves Mans, and seeing her son attack his own father was the final straw. What is Yandy's job? The internet erupted into a full-blown breakdown, with people screaming at their computers and on Twitter in flames after he said, "You have to go." Let me assure you, nobody saw this coming. Since no one anticipated Yandy to turn on Lil Mendeecees in that manner, let's take a moment to. This is a two-sided problem. Some contend that Lil Men was entirely wrong and that he never spoke to your father, which makes Tiffany defend herself. However, others counter that. Wait a damn minute, how are you going to throw out the same child you've been parenting for years? Isn't he the one who was left behind by his father? Maybe the way people were fighting in. Before we get into these messy comment sections, let's talk about Lil Mendeecees' reaction. This boy was shocked and looked at Yandy as though he couldn't believe what he had just heard. When this woman, who had always been his ride-or-die protector, told him to leave, Lil Mendeecees, who is no fool, told him to leave. Then he said, "Oh, so now I'm the bad guy after everything I've been through." And then he laughed uncontrollably, sarcastically, and in an unbelievable way. Y'all are wrenching. But Yandy didn't budge. She stood firm, he said, not realizing that the situation had reached this point. "I don't care what she said. You went too far after everything you've been through." Lil Mendeecees then gathered his things and departed. Now that he is out of the house, he is talking on the streets and disclosing everything, which is when things start to become very weird. He immediately posted family secrets on social media, writing enigmatic remarks, going left, and disclosing everything. He started off by disclosing how Mendeecees was never really there, how he used to pretend that he was only interested in the cameras, and how he only started acting like a father when it suited him. He then revealed the most shocking revelation. Yandy isn't as innocent as she tries to make herself out to be. Wow. At that moment, the internet went from being shocked to completely stunned because, let's face it, Yandy has always portrayed herself as the ideal mother and wife, the one who maintains order and is meant to be the peacemaker. However, Lil Mendeecees was key, so let's talk about the real Yandy instead. He started to imply that Yandy was a totally different person behind closed doors and that she only took care of him to please the cameras. He even said, "Y'all really think she just took me out of love? Or was it because it made her look like the perfect wife?" You people at this point. For one thing, Lil Mendeecees is out here looking like a kid who has been through a lot and is finally speaking the truth. But on the other hand, people were wondering if he was just acting out because he was expelled. And then, because this situation wasn't already messy enough, Mendeecees finally speaks up. At first, he was quiet and didn't say anything for a while, but now that he's out there, I'm not even sure who to believe. Days without posting on Instagram, leaving comments, or doing anything else. But then he did an interview, and let me tell you, this interview was all damage control. He prepared the script, the sad face, and the "I'm just a hurt father" routine, and he sat there saying, "As a man, I just never thought my son would turn on me like this," while the interviewer laughed. "Wow, that must be so disagreeable to you. I'm not perfect, but I made an effort to be a father, and nothing wounded me more than witnessing my son treat me with contempt. Where was this loving father energy while he was out here for years being a deadbeat, sir? There was no internet access. At the end of the day, Mendeecees struck M with the classic. The comment was taken seriously. Oh, so now you want to play the victim, sir? You haven't been a father for years. This isn't just about a slap, someone said. The issue has only become worse because, guess what? Mendeecees has been pretending that he hasn't abandoned the boy for half of his life. The other baby mama of Mendeecees decided to accompany Erica. As she arrived in full force, she exclaimed, "Oh, now you all see what I've been saying for years, sweetie. For all of you, men have been an asterisk." With Lil Mendeecees disclosing secrets and Mendeecees trying to play the victim, this drama was turning from a family argument into a full-fledged soap opera, with Yandy caught in the midst. Just when we thought that this issue couldn't get any worse, someone dropped receipts, and then Erica, looking as culpable as hell, showed up out of nowhere to add fuel to the flames. What was in those texts showed that this family had been a fraud for years, and what followed was a dispute. So you won't be ready when I tell you that these receipts altered everything. Was already on fire, but the entire tale was flipped when I informed you that someone dropped the receipts. Whoa, what was in those voicemails, text messages, screenshots, and baby? These communications show that Lil Mendeecees wasn't the only member of this family acting erratically. They had been lying for years. The fact that Mendeecees and Yandy had been lying behind closed doors was also disclosed by these receipts. Oh my goodness, as he was crying in interviews about "I just want to be a father," Mendeecees although exposed him in one of the texts, saying, "I only do this for TV. I have to look like I'm trying." He had been presenting this perfect family image for the cameras, but the truth was utterly poisonous. "No, you just want to look good for the cameras," the receipt stated. Baby, do you recall when Lil Mendeecees said Yandy wasn't as innocent as she seemed? As if that assertion weren't awful enough, the receipts also showed that this man was out there feigning to be the father of the year, when, in reality, he hasn't been around in that capacity. Yandy was seen texting Mendeecees and saying, "I can't keep doing this. He's not even my real son." Excuse me, like, huh? Not your real son? Baby Lily has been calling this woman mom for years. She has been out here claiming she loved him like her own, and now she's texting his real father, saying she can't keep pretending. Y'all, this was bad because now the internet didn't know who to blame. Was Yandy a loving stepmother, in your opinion, or was she merely playing for the cameras? Was Mendeecees merely making an effort to keep up appearances, or did he really try? Guess who appeared because this narrative wasn't already wild enough? Yes, Mama D, the queen of unkempt and disdainful relationships and a member of the LHA royal family. See, this is why I say you all need to stop faking these TV relationships because the truth always comes out, she remarked on Instagram Live, and I believe that was the harshest insult she used. Without hesitation, she went on, "I've known Mendeecees wasn't a Yandy and had been acting as stepmother for a plan, and the hip-hop and love world was shaking at this point, and I don't blame Lil Mendeecees for snapping at you all." Mama D was adding gasoline to the fire, and Lil Mendeecees was speaking the truth, exposing Yandy and Mendeecees. When Camila, yes, Joel Santana's wife, the same Kim fella who had an affair with Yandy years earlier, jumped in just when we thought it was over. You can see what I was saying about Yandy. This woman has been fake, and I've been trying to tell you, but you'd rather not listen. She was waiting for this moment, so she posted on Instagram saying, "Yandy will do anything to make herself look good, even if it means throwing Lil Mans under the bus." This was no longer just family drama. It was now a full-fledged expose. As the story became increasingly messy, Lil Man went back online, and he had one final statement to make before going live again. This time, he was calmer and more serious, saying simply, "I don't care what anybody says about me. I know my truth. I am aware of my experiences, and in the end, regardless of your position, it was clear that this family was never what they said." He continued, "I know who really loves me and who is just using me." He then stared dead into the camera and said, I'll never be fake for anybody. That's why they're mad. Pretended to be, but with everything now out to the public, the real concern is what will happen as Eno is coming back after all of this mayhem. Whoa, this is crazy, everyone. Then a complete family just disintegrate in front of our eyes. The main concern is what will happen next, because this isn't just ordinary drama. It's years of secrets, falsehoods, and false family goals being exposed. Mendeecees' relationship with his father forever over. Is Yandy going to come clean and admit that she has been playing stepmother to the cameras? Will Mendeecees continue to place the blame on others, or will he even attempt to correct this? In the comments, please let me know which side you support. Is Lil Mendeecees the only one speaking the truth, or is he just a disobedient child? What do you all believe this family's future holds? Let's get started because, darling, I know that even though everything is a complete disaster, it's not finished yet, and you already know that we're going to break it down right here when the next bombshell comes. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications while you're at it, since I'd want to hear your opinions. This mess is just getting started, and I'd assure you that you won't want to miss the next update.